2025 is a critical year for Toronto real estate investors, and not in a good way. Over 80% of the Toronto condo bought in 2021 and 2022 are roughly 20 to 30% higher than current market price. Why? Because of low interest rate, FOMO amongst the investor, and also a skyrocketing demand during that time. But now, reality is hitting hard to most Canadian investors. Today, we will cover why investors are avoiding Toronto real estate market. To make things worse, we have one data that has increased very rapidly, and that is something we will discuss in the later part of this video. We have seen a huge spike in prices in 2021 and 2022, and investors who bought before that making a huge profits. But the market is vastly different now. Interest rate has surged from near zero to multi-decade high. Closing costs are also climbing in a pre-construction space. And to make things worse, rental market is not performing well. So if you are an investor who is expecting closing in 2025 or even in 2026, make sure you watch this video till end. Hello everyone, my name is Parth Soni. I'm a realtor based in Waterloo region with EXP. I am helping families and investors like you to make a move. The only thing I ask, if you find any value out of this video, to like and subscribe to my channel. So in today's video, we will focus on the economic backdrop, the pre-construction problem we have in Canada, the case study of an investor who purchased in 2021. So, and if you're someone who has purchased in 2021 and a closing coming in 2025, then what it means for you and what you can do as an investor. Now, let's check out the very first factor, that is the economic backdrop. Now, let's rewind a bit. From 2010 to 2020, Toronto real estate market was considered as a powerhouse. Prices doubled, demand surged, and the interest rate were lower at that time. But starting in 2022, Bank of Canada has increased the interest rate to combat the inflation. The result, financing costs have doubled and many investors are underwater right now. Now let's take an example of a typical condo price that was happening in 2021 and 2022. Here's an example of $800,000 condo, and most of the investors are expecting the interest rate will remain same. So here's the thing. So at that point of time, 2% interest rate was very typical, but right now 4, 5, 6% is not uncommon to see. So if you see over here with $800,000 condo in Toronto, the down payment will be at a 20%, $160,000. And what I have done over here is the interest rate is only changed from 2%, 4%, 5%, and all the way to 6%. Now, sometimes you might have seen 3.99 and 4% interest rate, but as an investor, it's very different than a first-time home buyer or primary house owner. So the interest rate will be on a higher side. And another factor is when you are paying 20% down, that compared to minimum down payment, the interest rate will be high. So if you see over here, if I'm an investor who thought that I will purchase this $800,000 property and the interest rate will remain same at 2%, I was expecting a $2,700 as a monthly payment for my mortgage. But based on the current market scenario, what we are seeing, what my clients are seeing is roughly about 5 or 6%. So at 5%, if you see, that is $3,722 for the same condo. And that is roughly about $1,000 more going just into the interest. Now add to that a cooling effect of a global economy uncertainty. And 2025 could mark as the toughest year we have seen in the history of Toronto for investors. Now let's talk about the pre-construction problem we have right now. So during 2021 and 2022, over 30,000 new condos were sold in GTA. Investors were lured by promise of soaring values and minimal upfront cost. And today, developers are facing many delays, higher construction cost, and also declining demand. So if your unit are closing in 2025 or 2026, here is what you are up against. The very first one in the list is the increased development charge. This has gone up by 45% in Toronto. So let's consider if you're someone who bought it in 2020, in November of 2020 for a one bedroom, the development charge was roughly about $33,358. For the same condo in June of 2024, development charge for our $52,676, and that's a difference of 19,300 that will be directly hit to the investors. And if you're someone who wants to know more about the development charges and how it hits the investor, check out this video over here. And it depends how you structure your agreement. The difference of this $19,000 could be your responsibility. The second one is the appraisal gap, which is most common in the market. What we are seeing right now, almost all the condos are appraising at 10 to 15% lower than their purchase price. For the past 1.5 year, all the people and my clients we have consulted with, what we have advised them to save up a little bit extra apart from their down payment. As this becomes very prominent in the end of 2022 and the beginning of 2023, that this appraisal gap will going to happen. Now, fortunately, some did, and unfortunately, not everyone will be able to do that. And I can totally understand that after exhausting 20% on your investment property, having that extra 10 or 15% cash would be very difficult for so many people. And moving forward, this is something that we recommend to all of our clients to have at least 30% in your pocket before looking for a pre construction condo for an investment purpose. And don't fall for the traps that we are seeing in today's market, like book with 5,000, 10,000, $15,000. Make sure you have a proper plan and execution for that. The other problem that is investors are facing right now, it's not technically a problem, which is a good thing for so many people, but a small portion of investors that are feeling the rents are not rising up as fast as it should. And most of the investors that are relying solely on the rental income will see a good amount of negative cash flow. As an investor, I highly recommend you to check rentals.ca. They do have all the cities listed down there and what is their month to month up and down going in the rental market. Now, let's take an example of an investor who purchased their pre construction property in 2021. Now, just to give you an idea, there are 73 projects that will be finishing in 2025. So, closing will be happening in 2025, and that will be roughly equates to 21,000 units, more than 21,000 units, and most of them will be listed on assignment sale. And if you are someone who don't know about assignment sale, check out this video over here that will give you a deep down and detailed insight what is an assignment sale and how you can navigate it. Now let's talk real world example. In 2021, an investor purchased a property, a condo, a pre-construction condo for $750,000. Fast forward in today's market, the same condo is appraised from $750 to $675,000. Now the investor need to cover that gap if they are planning to closing that condo. That is $75,000. Plus, on top of it, the rental market is not that great as we have seen 2 to 3 years back. And here is another example of an investor based in Kushner. The purchase price of that condo, it's a one bed, one bath for $698,000 back in 2022. At the time of the closing, the appraisal come at $575,000. That's a whopping $123,000 difference that investor have to come from out of pocket. So whenever you are investing in a pre-construction condo, make sure you do have a backup plan. And if you want to know more about the future of condos in Ontario, check out this video over here. Now, what this means for 2025 for an investor. So here's a big picture. Investors who are closing in 2025 and purchase in 2021 or 2022 will immediately see a negative equity in their units. Many investors are forced to sell, and this will drive up the inventory and results into lower prices. With higher qualifying rates, fewer buyers can afford to enter into the market, and this overall reduces the demand in the condo space. And don't forget about the new government regulation that is the vacant property tax and also ban on foreign buyers. And on top of that, we have higher unemployment rate for past couple of months. In 2022, the unemployment rate was roughly between 5 to 5.2%, but in today's market, it's roughly at 6.5%. So that's a major increase in unemployment. Personally, I believe this is the biggest factor that will stop many people to entering into the real estate market. Now, if you're an investor, what are your options? What investor can do? To be honest, not much. You just have to accept it and take the loss. I believe almost 95% of the investors have to do that. And for the remaining 5%, here's what you can do. So, the very first thing you can do is the extend the closing date. I know it's not that common to extend the closing date, but if it's a small boutique condo and you have a bunch of people who are on the same page, you might reach out to an builder and do that. The other thing you can do is to sell before closing. If the appraisal gap is too large, consider cutting your losses as early as. The third one is the partner up. Now, this is a creative way. Now, when the market is going in a downward trend, not many people wants to partner up for a negative equity. But here's what you can do. You can structure it creatively. Like for this is something you need to reach out to the lawyer, and you can do that. Uh, have a partner, have a negative equity for a while. After 4 or 5 years or a couple of years, when you see a good equity in the house or a decent equity, you can sell that. And at the time of the selling, the way you can structure your contract with the partner is like the major equity would be to the partner and you will be a minority holder. The fourth thing you can do is close the unit and explore short term rental opportunity. In some cases, it generates higher yield, but it comes with their own risk. The fifth and the last, what I can propose is to rent out the room individually if you have two or more rooms in the unit. And of course, you need to get a permission from the condo board for this. 2025 will be a test of resilience for many Toronto investors. And unfortunately, there is no easy way around it. And many people realize that it's a long term game and assignment may not be here to make quick bucks. Let me know in the comment below what is your biggest challenge heading into 2025. And if you need any guidance, feel free to book a call as per your convenience. There will be a first link in the description. Subscribe and like for more real estate insights like this. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time.